UDL begins to connect with your unit plan in checkpoint 3 in this second half. So after you've analyzed your data and you've looked at patterns and what students know and what they don't know, you're going to start thinking through some basic instructional decisions for your unit. And you'll notice here you see the multiple means of engagement, representation, and expression. So we're referring directly to the UDL guidelines here. And you're going to speak in somewhat general and broad terms right now about what you think is going to be really important for your students. So you're going to pull it out of the chart, the principles chart, but you're also going to lay a little bit of your content into it. So for example, in the Roman aqueduct lesson and looking at ancient Rome and some of the key things, I'm going to put that they're definitely going to need explicit instruction for vocab. And I know in particular that's going to be architecture and aqueduct. I think we're going to get arch pretty easily, but I'm going to put it in here because it's key vocabulary. And then I might even put contribution and ancient, because those are important for understanding the unit as a whole. And so this is actually going to apply to my large group, and then I'm going to say that it supports the needs of my students because scores on questions related to key concepts were low as expected. So explicit instruction will be very important because my learners need visuals and opportunities to use the language themselves. So that's an example of how you're going to fill out your evidence-based instructional decisions. Notice I haven't said how yet. I don't know what that explicit instruction PowerPoint's going to look like yet, but I do know that I'm going to teach those words explicitly, give my students multiple examples, give my students visuals to go with the text, and that I'm going to importantly, and here's a big key, I'm going to have them using the language themselves. So that's an example of how Universal Design for Learning goes into your checkpoint 3 piece. Now, one of the things I want you to think about too is that in order to complete this chart, we need to now start going to collect things. We need to be collecting all kinds of representations. We need to be generating and brainstorming ideas for how they might act and express on what they know. And we need to be looking at engagement and thinking through some ways to involve student choice and so forth. And so that's why this week's lesson is really about collecting those resources and beginning to paint a picture of options. You're not going to use all of them in the end. The important thing is the more you brainstorm and the more you offer yourself to choose from, the richer your unit's going to be in the end.